Hi, this is Tashina.
And this is Jonathan.
And this is Abandoned Ship, a podcast where we are taking you through Deep Space Nine.
And today we have Season 2, Episode 5, Cardassians. Did this episode, you were talking before about how you remembered this episode being, how'd you describe it? Not quite hitting the mark?
I remembered it, so that was already a plus in the book.
That's true. I think it's something about, you remember it was tackling, you weren't sure if it provided, you couldn't remember if it provided a good resolution to the questions it was asking.
Yes, because I remember it being a pretty heavy subject. And knowing, kind of where we've been before in the series, I'm like, I don't remember them having I did remember what resolution they came to. I didn't remember because they didn't come to one if we fell. That's why, because in my brain, I'm like, I can't remember where we landed with this. There's a reason why I didn't remember.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah.
I guess we'll try and say that for the end this time instead of blowing all our thoughts in the beginning.
Yes, we'll save that for the end. All right, we're ready to get into this. So we open up with Garek. I'm so excited to see Garek and Bashir. Yeah, whatever.
It's been a while.
They're chatting it up in the what is
Replomat.
Replomat. I don't know why that name always escapes me. I want to say cafe. Like they're just hanging out in the cafe. Doing a little volleying back and forth where
Bashir says that Garek stinks.
Where I don't know. You could just Bashir's trying so hard and he thinks he's at the same level in a way. Like the volume back and forth. He's like thinking he's going to get something.
I've deduced you drinking Ricasa juice because everyone knows because it stinks so much. Yeah. I'm good at this.
Thing is, Garek is just on a whole nother level.
Yeah, he's sort of toying with him.
Yes. Very much. Every interaction we get with Garek and Bashir, it just feels like Garek is just humoring him, but also getting information from it. Like, very interesting dynamic, the two. But pretty much they're talking about trust and spies because Bashir's always trying to get Garek to admit that he's a spy. And Garek's like, I'm just a lonely tailor.
Plain, simple Garek.
Plain and simple Garek. So while they're chatting away, I notice something that you usually don't see. There's a Cardassian boy with a Bajoran man. And they head over to the Replomat and sit down next to them. So Garek being Garek goes over.
One of the first very highly suspicious coincidences of this episode.
Oh, yeah. Knowing what we know, it is.
It's like, okay.
So Garek just goes over to kind of introduce himself, kind of see what the situation is. And says, oh, what a lovely young man. And I guess but just puts his hand on
the... It was kind of creepy.
It was a bit creepy. And I guess the boy bit him because he's like, bad touch.
Yeah. It came across very I think the blame is just that it's a combination of one, the way Garek is played is just very strange.
He's also flirty all the time.
Yes.
And they didn't, I think the director should have been like, okay, there's got to be a way. Dial it back.
We can't have you look like you're trying to
seduce a teenage boy. It was just it was off-putting.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I don't blame the boy for being off.
So yeah, I think it's a combination of the way Garek is played and the script requiring that he put his hand on him so he can be bitten.
Yeah. And call him a lovely.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just like.
It's just like.
So I think it was mostly to blame on the writers, like putting this situation, we have to concoct a situation where Garek could be bitten by this kid.
Because the explanation is he bit him because he was just Cardassian, but
He hates Cardassians, but was like,
I think he had
it's just
other
stranger danger.
I think he had other reasons too. Personally,
Stranger danger. Gouge the eyes.
Gouge your eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, Garek's lucky he didn't lose more than just a bite on the hand.
So, and then after he bites him, the boy goes and like hugs the Bajoran man, like kind of hides in him, like hugs him, terrified.
And also, even before they sat down, you could tell the boy was looking at Garek and was afraid.
Yeah, he's like
and angry, like from the get go. It wasn't like came out of nowhere. So there's that, but still, a little awkward. Boy gouges Garek's eyes. And we go to ops.
Bashir comes in and kind of tells the crew what happened. Like, this weird thing just happened in the...
Hey guys, weird thing happened. I didn't report it until now in casual conversation. But Odo's very interested. He's like, attacked? Where? Because he's obviously head of security. These are his only lines in the episode.
Oh, no. He goes, Ducat's on the line.
Oh, yeah. It's the assistant.
He's arrived.
He's the secretary.
Exactly. Odo demoted to a secretary. Speaking of Ducat, as they're chit-chatting away and Bashir's updating them on what happened, all of a sudden, Cisco gets a call from Ducat. So he goes into his office. He's like, hey, you... Knowing that it's never a good time when Ducat calls in. But at first he's like, oh, I heard a Cardassian was attacked.
Clutching my pearls.
On your station. And Cisco's like, oh yeah, it was just...
Literally just happened.
Literally just told. Which, damn, how many spies does Ducat have on the station still that he got the information that quick? Because as we learned, it's not coming from Garrett.
It was the ship captain or whatever. The guy, because there was that alien with him who Bashir questions
maybe it
later.
was
who gives him like the false story.
I guess he must have been just lingering in the shadows, because I don't even remember him until we get to a scene, and then Bashir starts talking to him like, who the fuck is this guy?
When you first see him, he's just a background alien, basically, but he was in front of them when they walked in.
Okay. He was. I didn't even notice he was there. Yeah. Staging is important because I was a little lost in that scene coming up. But yeah, Ducat's like, pretty much he's just trying to get information about what happened. What are they going to do about it? And then Ducat's like, oh, yes. The poor orphans that were left behind. Oh, yeah. Ducat is very much... Think of the children. This episode. How those poor war orphans that we had to leave behind. And then Bajorans adopted them, making them hate their own. Oh, okay, Ducat. We head over to the quarters of our family. I didn't catch the Bajoran man's name, but
the script says Proka.
I
don't know if they ever say his name.
I don't think so. The boy's name is Rugal.
Rugal. Yep.
Rugal. So Bashir and Cisco speak to the family. So the father is just trying to get information on like how you came to adopt him. What's the deal? And the Bajoran man, I just told him the truth. What the Cardassians did. And that's why he hates Cardassians. And he says, he's not one of them anymore. He's Bajoran. We love him. It's like...
this is our first introduction
red flags are a little bit, maybe yellow flags, like definitely some flags are flying.
It's our first introduction into the deeper questions of the episode, which is this really bad situation. You have a violent occupation.
Mm-hmm.
There were Cardassian orphans as well, and it's like they shouldn't be held responsible for the actions of their people. But now, so they have been adopted by Bajorans, but the Bajorans obviously have all this history with Cardassians and
hate them.
Can say in the same breath that Cardassians are scum, but we like this one and we think of him as Bajoran, which does not seem like a healthy
because
mindset.
You can smash that into his brain as much as possible, like, you're Bajoran, you're Bajoran, you're Bajoran. But you look in a mirror, he's Cardassian.
Right.
And I'm not saying he should keep the truth from him. Definitely at some point, Rugal needs to know what happened. But I think there's a difference between being honest and the seething hatred that is emanating off of this dad. And because no matter how much you say, no, but you're not one of them, but he is. And that is going to...
It's the wrong way to approach it.
It's going to affect his self-image, self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't... That's just very simple way of thinking, well, we just consider him Bajoran. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying there's no situation where Bajorans couldn't adopt Cardassians. The thing is, it's happening like right after the occupation. They have not processed their own anger and hatred for Cardassians. And then they have a boy in their care who is Cardassian. I feel like that would take a parent who is a little further along maybe in their process of dealing with everything and is able to kind of put those two things aside. Like, yes, he might have hatred for what the Cardassians did, but he now has this boy in his care who is Cardassian. And I don't know, just making him completely Bajoran is not...
Right.
It's just putting wallpaper
and so we have
on something.
We have the start of it here, and you sort of feel like, oh, they're going to talk about this more. And they don't really. If you went more down this road, I think if this episode was written today, it would be terrible because Kurtzman would be involved. But if it was written today by good writers, you would focus entirely on the boy.
Yes.
And you would have maybe him learning about his people more and establishing that sense of identity and learning more about his culture and where he's from in a positive way.
Yes.
And trying to draw this distinction between you can't escape the fact that your people who look like you did terrible things.
Yes.
But that does not mean that they're all terrible and that your culture doesn't have something to offer.
Yeah.
It is just in a bad place right now because of its government.
And again, a theme that we keep seeing throughout is, like with Duet, Kira's like, Cardassian needs men like you. This boy could have been someone who, growing up with the Bajorans, really understands like the effect that his people had on the Bajorans.
Right.
And also learned about his own culture to be able to go in and go, this is what we did. This is how we can, build that bridge and become better people. Because, just to teach them, like, to hate all Cardassians are the same. I mean, we even get pretty much some racism from Miles in this episode, which, again, is kind of left on a wishy-washy note. I feel like 2/3 of this episode, they, like, set up stuff, and then the last third is just the Dukat plotline.
It's also interesting because you have the Klingons, which also have a very well-established culture that is brutal and aggressive and, does not have all those human values that the Federation has, but they have come to respect them and let them do things their way and find the good in what they bring to the table.
Through people like Worf.
Yeah.
Who was also brought up by humans and had to go through his own journey to understand his own culture. What does that mean to him? Like, that's kind of where Rugal should have been at. Is like,
Right.
I'm not saying he could still love the Bajoran people. He could still believe in their god, take part in their culture, because that is his parents, that is his family. But just to completely cut a part of him off, it just, in the long run, it's damaging.
Yep.
Okay. So we go to Quark's.
Moving on.
Yeah, we go to Quark's. And we just get a little scene with him where he's super sad because this alien dude is just on a hot streak. Winning.
For some reason.
He's tapped in.
Yeah.
And Bashir goes, oh, let me go to this guy who's winning and ask him about this family. That's my perception, because I didn't know that he was the driver.
That's this random person.
I'm like, why is he asking him about this? He's like, I'm like, is he someone on the station who just like knows like the hubbub? In my mind, I'm just trying to wrap around what is happening. And then I think it was later on, I'm like, oh, he brought them here. He was the captain of the ship. Got it. But this captain kind of really shits on the father and said, oh yeah, he pretty much tortures
he
their
beats
kids.
him.
He
Yeah,
beats him. And it's just like, uh-oh. So they go back to the family quarters where Sisko and Bashir are like, we're getting some troubling information. Of course, the father's like, that's not true at all. We've never beaten our son. We love him. They're like,
that's a Cardassian lie, because all Cardassians are liars. You see the problem we're having.
So while we figure this out, we're going to have him go and be in Keiko's custody, pretty much. Like, she's going to look after him and over the next couple of days while they try to figure out this mess. Rugal heads over.
Do they have the authority to do this?
I have no idea what is going on. I guess it's he heads.
You travel to a Federation station, have your son kidnapped by the state.
I don't understand their jurisdiction sometimes with all this, but sure, we're gonna assume they have the authority to do this. Head to the infirmary where Bashir kind of updates Garek on what's going on, because Garek's in there to look after that bite of his. He explains Ducat's involvement and how he's, think of those orphans. And
and that Ducat was specifically concerned about Garek.
Yes. Garek
is quite concerned with your well-being, and Garek just laughs.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Which is
we haven't learned their history yet.
Yes, we haven't learned their history. It's interesting because, Garek holds a lot of things to his chest. Garek was pretty much, do you think we just forgot about these orphans? Oh, whoopsie, we left some kids behind. We won't go back for them at all. Whoopsie doopsie.
He has sort of a lot of national pride in this, or species pride, I guess, in this episode. He talks about, Cardassians' attention to detail, and he does some of the things when they go down to the orphanage, which is also interesting because I don't think Garek does that ever later, where he's like that typical Cardassian bravado. But I think they're still trying to figure him out at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't
He's all like, oh yes, Cardassians, we've brought civilization to many worlds. Like, oh boy. I think that they tone that down quite a bit after this. Because that's what you usually see from the other Cardassians. But he's like, yeah, we don't miss anything. Therefore, it was on purpose.
Yeah. Head to Ops. Sisko is updating Ducat on the situation. And Ducat asks for the boy's DNA to see if he has any family. Now, while they're chit-chatting away, Bashir just busts in and starts questioning Dukat. I'm just like, ooh, somebody put their big boy pants on today. He's pretty much asking him about Dukat's involvement, leaving. What's that?
Because Dukat was in charge of the military. He was the prefect or whatever.
Prefect,
at
yes.
the time, so he was in charge.
Yes.
So for him to say it's not my decision, it wasn't my decision to leave them behind. Bashir's like, well, weren't you in charge? He's like, no, it was a civilian decision. But Bashir's like, aren't the military really in control in Cardassian? So what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
So there's some pieces like not adding up, but Dukat insists no, it was the civilian leadership who made the decision to withdraw.
Yes.
And I had nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm. Peace out.
Cisco
gets on Bashir's shit. So, on a hunch, you decided to just interrupt my conversation.
So
with
you
Dukat?
deduced that Garek thinks that Tukat's lying about something you're not sure of, and you proceed to interrupt my conversation to confront him about whatever that may be. Don't do it again.
And yeah, Bashir's like...
And so Cisco asks to meet Garek.
Which we don't see.
Which never happens.
I think because of... Either it happens off screen, or...
I think he gets interrupted by their trip to Bajor.
Yeah. They have to go to bed first. That's what happened.
Yeah.
To get entered, yeah.
Got to sleep on those comfortable Cardassian beds.
Okay, over at the O'Brien's quarters, Miles comes in from a hard day of work, asks Keiko what's been going on, and...
Hey, wifey. Where's my food?
Yummy. And Keiko's like, great. Rugal and Molly been playing all day, so Molly's taking a nap, and...
Brian's like, you let her play with that feral child?
And Keiko's like, Rugal was great. He was really gentle with Molly. I was here the whole time. It's fine.
In O'Brien's small defense, the kid did just bite someone.
I will give him that. So I understand his concern, but he
takes it to 11.
To another.
When he's like,
yes.
Gentle was bred out of these Cardassians a long time ago, and Keiko clocks him.
Checks him.
You know, and gets right in his face. That was a very ugly thing you just said. And he's like, she's like, I don't need to hear it twice.
Nope.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm just like, go Keiko.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff you can't tolerate.
It's interesting because, especially the utopia of the Federation, you don't see a lot of this type of stuff. So it's interesting that we do get drips of it from Miles because of his background with the Cardassians and the fighting. I get some of his anger, but yeah, what he said was, she's right, it was an ugly thing to say.
They probably could have leaned a little more on reminding us of his war experience, because I don't think we ever actually hear, if you're a consistent Star Trek viewer, you know he talks about in TNG.
Yes.
Where the first time he had to kill someone was when Cardassians attacked a civilian town and he was defending it.
I think he's maybe only mentioned it in passing once.
They do like little nods and stuff to it, but you never really hear it. And it probably would have been good to be reminded of it so it doesn't look like it's coming so far out of left field here.
Yeah, like, whoa.
The way I like to think about the Federation in the future, humanity in the future, and why it can be a utopia in a sense, but also not be perfect. It's not that humans are perfect, never make mistakes, never have these intrusive thoughts. It's that they're at a healthier place where they can deal with them, and they come more from individual experiences than, let's just say, political propaganda pushed on unsuspecting people to drive an agenda.
Yeah.
And this is throughout Star Trek. You always have them struggling with this. It's not like they never struggle with these things. And O'Brien here had a moment where he slipped into some really bad speciesism. We'll call it racism.
Yeah.
but it was driven by, like, you could see his life laid out. He had this experience with Cardassians that's driving his worldview.
Mm-hmm.
So it is in some way understandable that he would have that struggle. You're not trying to deny people the struggle, otherwise they're cardboard cutouts. As soon as it comes out in the open, the people around him clock it, tell him to his face that that's bullshit, and he's able to introspect.
Yes.
Versus today, say, where these views are like entrenched. They're not necessarily from personal experience. They're from like a societal, some sort of weird societal consensus among groups of people that just perpetuate these things because that's what they've heard all their lives and they've never been challenged. And then they get used in political machinations to push people to vote a certain way, and they just take advantage of their fears. Anyway, so that's my little sidebar on...
Yes. I get what you're saying about Miles, yeah.
Bashing New Trek.
Oh, boy.
I think some of the problem with them is that they're like, oh, we can't have them have those struggles. If anyone thinks that way, they are bad.
Exactly.
As soon as, if this was done in New Trek and he said that, he'd be the bad guy. Irredeemable, they'd have to cut him out somehow.
Yeah.
He's probably from the mirror universe. Oh, that's a hint. That's why he said that. He's not one of us. He's an other. He's from over there, the bad place.
Because nobody's nuanced.
Right.
Nobody has bad thoughts. All of our thoughts are perfect.
And I guess that's the unfortunate thing is, nowadays, if someone lets these thoughts slip, you think it reveals something. Oh, they just revealed what side they're on, because everyone's trying to figure out what side everyone's on. They're one of those people. They think this way. Maybe that's true, because again, today we do have a lot of people divided up into camps. And maybe that is true for some people, that they really do have these entrenched thoughts that they are working in bad faith to come across otherwise. But sometimes people just slip, and it's okay to like let them figure out why that's wrong and try and like correct them rather than just cutting them off.
Exactly. I think a lot of people fear so much having an incorrect thought or opinion.
Right.
Which shouldn't be the case. If somebody, like you said, if somebody has something like that, yes, they should be checked, but they should also have the space to be able to work through, why did I think that?
Yes. Yep.
Because there is a lot of things that are just, that you
internalize.
Yeah. So I grew up in the South. There is a lot of things that I didn't realize I took on being in the culture I was in, especially when I was in a more rural area. And then I moved to another state, and there were some things that I had to work through, like, why do I think that? Like, where did that thought come from? And some of it is literally just upbringing, and then they kind of build on top of that. So sometimes you have to like really work down to like a foundation of a thought. Like where did that come from before you can really root out a lot of the stuff. The thing is, we need to allow people to work through and dig deep and try to figure out where does that systematic racism come from? And yes, there's a lot of people that are just going to dive deeper into the racism because they're afraid to confront it and afraid to be wrong. But the people that are like, wait a minute, no, this is wrong, we need to give them the space to work through that.
Yeah.
Wow, we really went off on a tangent there.
Well, it's we got to dive into it because the episode didn't.
I think that's a part of it. Yeah, it's just the episode left me wanting.
Yeah. It starts out with some really big, like, whoa, this is a complicated situation. And then they ditch it in favor of this spy intrigue.
It's complicated, so...
It's very much like what we talked about in season 1, those episodes where they kept distracting from the story with the, like O'Brien Dax technobabble side plot where they're like, well, we have to have this in here. And this episode was similar, where they're like, well, we can't just have, this is too big. Maybe they realize this is too big for us to tackle. Quick, throw in a Garek spy plot, and then we'll just resolve the other one off screen.
And I think the next scene kind of, well, wrap up the scene. Keiko makes a gross stew. Cardassians do that neither of them want.
Yeah, that O'Brien doesn't like, because all he likes is meat and potatoes, and Rugal doesn't like either because he's
like, no thanks.
That captures a lot of his. That's way too much for him right now. He doesn't even try it.
Yeah, he just,
because it represents everything he's been taught to reject.
So then this next scene between Rugal and Miles, I think is emblematic of how wishy-washy this episode is. Because at first it seems like we're gonna dig deep. Because Rugal talks about how I want to go home. Miles is like, okay, if you want to go back to Cardassian side. He's like, no. I want to go home to Bajor.
Mm-hmm.
In this conversation, Miles would have to face his own shit. But then he just goes, oh, there's some bad Cardassians, there's some good Cardassians. I don't know.
Yeah, it was weird. He sort of like plays dumb.
Very wishy-washy.
In that he contradicts what he just said, so he's not really confronting himself. Or maybe that confrontation happened, like a lot of things in this episode, off screen, and he's already gone through that healing process.
What is going on? Because it ends kind of there with him saying that. And I'm like, no, this is where we're supposed, because bringing Miles in was a smart decision because he also not fond of Cardassians. So if him and Rugal had like a really frank conversation, maybe they could have gone a step further.
O'Brien should have been like, hey, look, I, until a few minutes ago, also hated all the Cardassians. Or more like, I did not realize until I met you that I was all harboring the same, I'm having the same feelings you are. They should have connected on that.
Because they're having same issues.
Just a second ago, these feelings bubbled up, and I said something, and I was like, "Where?" And I was like, "Where did that come from?" Oh, it comes from my history and all this stuff, and why? And let's tackle that together and bond over this shared experience of hating Cardassians. And is that the right thing to do?
Yeah, they could start off like bonding, like, oh, those Cardassians, but then the further along they get, maybe Miles like, wait a minute, this is not right.
Yeah,
no, like
something like that. They should have had some sort of bonding. Instead, he sort of has seemed to have already figured it out.
There's some good.
Well, you can't hate all Cardassians. Speak for yourself. You were just one saying they got gentleness was bred out of them. Where's the A to B here? Where did you have your come to the light moment? Off screen, I guess.
I'm pretty sure it was taking a bite of that stew didn't do that.
That stew was magic. What's very interesting, though, is this has happened to him with his Cardassian storyline before in TNG.
Really?
In this TNG episode, because this is where they talk about, this is the first episode where we meet Cardassians in TNG. They come on the ship because there's a rogue Federation captain who's out thinking the Cardassians are going to start a war, so he goes out blowing up a bunch of stuff, and so they're trying to stop him. He was O'Brien's former captain, so O'Brien's tended this, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he's all like really standoffish and like openly hostile with the Cardassians from the second he meets them. Are like, I choose who my friends are. I'm not going to hang out with you, because they're like some of them are acting in more good faith than others and are actually trying to get to know him, but he's just like rejecting them. Right? I don't have to spend time with you. Cardassians can't be trusted. And then he has a conversation with Keiko, I think, where suddenly he's like, because they're talking about the captain, and he's all like, yeah, I don't understand why people have such a problem with the Cardassians. That war was ages ago. It's like, wait, are you trying to play dumb? You were the one having these reactions. What are you talking about? And I think it was supposed to be sort of like, I think what they were trying to do is, it was so like deeply rooted, he didn't even realize he was doing it. It was sort of like, I think it was supposed to be like what we were talking about, where he was like looking inwards and be like, where are these thoughts coming from? But it's interesting that episode and this episode are the same thing, where you feel he feels like unaware of his own thoughts, which is, I just thought was funny, that he seems incapable of conscious introspection. It like in both instances, it happens like in his subconscious off screen, and then suddenly he realizes the problem.
Oh
I don't know.
Gosh.
I'm not explaining it well, but there was this interesting way that they were both handled on two completely different shows that is similar.
Apparently that's just Miles.
Oh,
here we go. Now we get into the next gear with Garek waking up Bashir in the middle of the night and
hello, Bashir.
Time to go to Bajor. And then they wake up Cisco because they have to authorize a runabout.
It's like, I need a runabout for Garek to go to Bajor. To do what? I don't know.
I don't know.
And Cisco's like, oh, well, by all means, will one runabout be enough?
I love sassy Cisco.
But then he gets a call from Gul Dukat.
Mm-hmm.
And Dukat's like, oh yeah, thanks for the DNA. We've connected it to one of our prominent civilian politicians, Kotan Padar.
And the father is on the way.
He's on the way, so...
Oh, he got the results like Jerry Springer. You are the father.
You are the father. His career is ruined.
Cisco's like, okay, something's going on. My chain's getting pulled. Take the runabout. Go to Bajor. Whatever. Go.
Get out of my face.
And on Bajor, so pretty much they go to a resettlement,
an orphanage,
like an adoption center, almost an orphanage. Yeah, the Bajoran lady who heads it's very cagey with Garek, and she's just like, yeah, whatever. Our computers are down, and Garek's like,
the Cardassians abandoned a lot of children when they left, and then Garek's like, we brought civilization to the galaxy, and it's like, oh boy, this is an awkward conversation.
Yes, Garek fixes their system so he can get the information. They know Rugal was there, but they cannot find his file. They cannot find his information. Yep. Pretty much, I guess, take the computer with them.
They download the whole database. I guess they're trying to find, I don't know what, something.
Oh, it's really sad when they're leaving. All the kids start coming out, and there's a Cardassian girl who goes up to Garek and is like, are you taking us home? And Garek's like, I'm sorry. I'm not taking you home.
Because that's the thing. And the one nice thing about this episode is it does build up some more Cardassian lore.
Mm-hmm.
We get to understand their importance on family, which continues throughout the show.
Yes.
Like I really liked when the politician comes later and he's talking about how family is important to them and how, 4 generations will eat at the same table, which is a very...
Family is everything.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a very, that's a thing in many cultures in the world.
Yes.
Not necessarily ours, but many others, that's how it is. You have generational homes that build on top of each other.
Yeah. And usually it's not really an expectation you turn 18 and you leave.
Right.
A lot of people tend to stay with their families.
Yep. They say they care for their parents and their children with equal measure, So we get some nice insight into the Cardassian social structure, which is nice, building the universe, making the Cardassians feel like a people rather than a nebulous adversary.
It's really sad for these orphan children because they've kind of lost, they mentioned they lost their status in a way.
Yes, that's the double-edged sword is because they have no family, they have no standing.
Yeah.
And they get discarded. Yeah, the double-edged sword of their system and their values is there's really nothing. They're never going home.
Yes. We're on the runabout. Garek is about to try to do a deep dive, and Bashir shuts it down. And he's very frustrated. He wants to know what's going on. And Garek, who we're assuming the reason why he was all of a sudden woke everybody up in the middle of the night to go is that Garek knew who the father was. As soon as he heard who the father was, he's like, we have to go to Bajor. And he reveals that is the case here. He's like, hey, his father who's coming, Badar, he's one of those civilian leaders. So he is pretty much a political adversary to Dukat.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that Dukat is all about bringing father and son back together, and the orphans, when Dukat, first of all, didn't give two shits about orphans before this, and now he's hoping his political adversary, and Garek's like, something's going down. We need to find out what it is. These decisions that they made also led to Dukat losing his position as prefect. So
he was in charge of Bajor, and then civilians decided to withdraw. And
I want a little revenge, you know? We go back to the O'Brien's quarters, and Padar
comes in.
Arrives. Miles is trying to explain the situation softly to him, like, hey, did they...
He kind of hates you and everything about you.
This might be a rough transition. And that's what you said. He goes
this is where
into
Padar talks about,
family's everything.
Which is also why him finding his son would be like an end to his career, because it looks as if he abandoned his son on Bajor, which would go against everything.
I didn't understand that at first. Like, how is...
Yeah.
I'm like, but he found his son. Isn't that a...
I think it's still kind of maybe a little weak. Because...
yes. We'll get into Dukat's shenanigans when we get there, but I have questions. After the speech, Keiko and Rugal come back to the quarters. And Rugal is very standoffish, and Padar's trying to be like, oh, gotta go back home to Cardassia, and then he starts getting mad, calls him a butcher, and he does not want to go. Yo!
Yeah.
SpaghettiOs.
And he basically says, you deserved it. They killed your son for your crimes.
Yes.
Just like, oh boy.
So like, oh man. Even that kind of dissidence of like, they killed your son. It's just like, so I'm a different person.
Yeah.
This kid's gonna need some therapy.
I think the last thing he says in the episode.
Yeah,
the last thing he ends with is, you're a butcher. You deserved it. They killed your son, me, for your crimes. I will never go back to Cardassia.
But
narrator. He did.
He'll be fine. It'll be a rough path, but he'll be fine.
Can we address this?
So in Sisko's office, both fathers are there, kind of going back and forth. They have no clue what to do. And Sisko's like, hey, sounds like you need an arbitrator, because I don't think we're going to get anywhere. So both men are okay with Sisko being the arbitrator. The Bajor man trusts him, and Sisko then asks Padar, he's like, are you sure? Like, the Federation's kind of for the Bajorans. You okay with me arbitrating? And it's interesting. He goes, you are a father. I trust you to do the right thing for the boy. And I'm like, I thought that was interesting, because there's just so much like back and forth with Federation and Cardassians, and not trusting, and like a lot of like double talk. So it's interesting to have Padar not really do double talk.
I think it helps that he's a civilian leader rather than a military one.
Yes.
And also I think they are trying to make him as sympathetic as possible given the situation.
Yes.
So that you don't recoil when it's not to go back to him.
Though they don't.
Well, at least he's with it.
Kind of. But then they also don't at the end. It's very interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
This is where Odo calls in. Dukat's arrived.
Dukat on line 1.
They go to the school, I think, is where they have their arbitration.
So. This arbitration meeting, by the way, was a complete waste of time. They don't talk about anything interesting there.
Because the only snippets that we get is stuff we already know.
It's just rehashing things. Like, why are you wasting time with this?
Because you
think this is where you're going to hash out like their feelings and figure out where he belongs and all that stuff, but they basically just repeat some stuff, and then Bashir comes in and crashes the party.
Yeah, this scene, this setup is just to build tension for Bashir's big da 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 da. I got you, Dukat. Because that's what the episode is about, is getting Dukat.
Yeah.
So yes, while it's going on, and of course Dukat comes in like, think of the children. I here to represent the children, the orphans. And then so we kind of go back and forth between the school and the infirmary, where Garek and Doctor, I was thinking Doctor. Garek and Bashir are first, they're trying to find the information. Can't find them at all.
They're like, nowhere. Oh yeah, of course. Dukat's too smart for this. He would have erased the records.
Which I feel like, yeah, he would have erased the records.
But then I guess he forgot to check with the person who wrote it. Because it was a pretty easy resolution. They just go, oh, we'll just talk to the person who wrote it. Oh, look, they're alive. Oh, look, they remember something that happened 8 years ago.
I'm like, man. It's because it was the only time where a Cardassian orphan was dropped off by another Cardassian.
See, and that's the thing is, we have to believe they catch this just because Dukat was both too smart to be caught and also extremely sloppy. To send an officer.
Yes. Why don't you just literally drop him off on the doorstep in the middle of the night and peace out?
Put a little sign on his neck that says Rugel.
I'm Rugel. Pin it to him.
Or they have collaborators in their service. Have a Bajoran drop him off.
Bajoran. Yeah. Oh, I found this boy. He said his name is Rugel. Here you go.
To send an officer who tells them, I am attached to Terok Nor. Like, you sent your dumbest junior officer.
The Cardassians putting their fingerprint on the manifest.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Why are you signing your thumbprint for an illicit weapon shipment? Dukat's just actually turns out much more sloppy than we thought.
Deceptive, double speak.
Deceivious.
And yet they always have a paper trail.
Well, they're too good at keeping records, as Garek said.
Damn it! I can't destroy these records. I can't.
It goes against everything I believe in.
It's the same thing with the duet episode. It was the picture that showed it's always records.
It was the
it's
filing
always
system.
Records. Yeah. It's filing systems.
They just can't help it.
They can't help it. It'll hurt my soul if I destroy this.
I need to erase all trace, but these records are so well ordered. It'll be fine. No one will.
Oh, I need to keep a tally of how many times the Cardassians plot gets undermined because of filing and record keeping. So yes, they have this information. So Bashir and Garek bust into the school. Garek's in the background going, get him, Bashir. Bashir's like, pretty much lays down all the information they found out. And how the person who dropped him off was part of the military and was attached to the person who led Terok Nor.
The way this was all outlined too was, I feel like, really insulting of everyone's intelligence, because he's like, yeah, she was attached to a post called Terok Nor. And Dukat's like, Terok Nor? That's here. It's like, we know that. You've all said this before.
It's for the dummies like me who can't remember anything.
Also, Dukat should have seen this coming. Like, that's when he should have just started glaring, like, I see where you're going with this. And he's like, who is in charge?
Who?
Of Terok Nor. Dukat just sort of walks away.
He just walks off.
And then he turns dramatically to everyone else.
He's like, I'm not.
Dukat was in charge of Terok Nor. It's like, we knew that too, I thought. I could have sworn we knew all of this.
Man, Bashir was riding on that high for a long
I'm really hoping
time.
I'm not wrong, and I'm just because I've seen it before that I knew this information.
It's hard.
I'm almost positive they've said all this before in a prior episode.
I know.
It's like well-known information.
I know Terok Nor was... I just don't know if we knew if Dukat was in charge, but I had a feeling that was said in the very beginning, like in the pilot episode, almost like in the beginning.
Even if it wasn't, they say it in this episode. So him doing this like a turn to camera reveal, like mic drop, It's like, okay, yeah, you've already said that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really build dramatically for the audience. It just all feels like repetition. Yeah. So kind of ends with a fizzle. Dukat just sort of walks out.
Pretty much, yeah. Dukat just did this to ruin Padar's career. Some kind of, I guess, vengeance.
But now that they've connected the dots and he has some involvement, they're not going to release it to the public, so his career's saved. And then fast forward and they decided that the kid's going home and episode's over. See ya.
Yeah. And the way they brush the whole thing aside, like Padar's like, I know there's gonna be some issues, some raw spots, but it's okay. I'm like, he literally called you a butcher and said your son died.
He's dead. And now you're taking him from
the only family he's had for 8 years.
And I think you said it best, is like, it's not like we have the answers.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is.
I don't know what the answer is.
Who should he stay with?
It would have been nice if we saw Cisco deal with this and try to figure out the best. Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah. Because, yes, on the one hand, you have the Bajorans teaching him to hate his own people, but also they are the only family he's known, and he wants to go back.
Yes.
So you would have to have some really good, like, to take him away from what he considers to be his parents. Obviously, there are situations where that is absolutely justified. If there's abuse. It's not that I think this is the wrong decision. It's just that I think I had to see this hashed out.
Yes. How did we come to
because
this decision?
Because it is so complicated.
Yes. And Rugal just seems like, okay. I guess I'm going. Like, it's not like he's trying to run away or anything or throwing a fit going in. Like, the way that he talked, you thought you would think there'd be some, like, visceral reaction. Unless he's just totally shut down, dissociated, which is also bad. It's just, yeah. And then it's interesting because Cisco then is talking to Padar about the other orphans. Like, okay, now that you have reunited with your son, are you going to help the other orphans? And he's like, baby. And I thought that was interesting that they show him as later, like,
he's still a politician.
Yeah. Why bring up these big themes? Like you said, this is something that has happened where people, like, adopt internationally. Should they? Or should they try to adopt within, like, their own country or culture? Like, these are big questions. And I felt like we got nothing. It's not like I want the episode to be, like, hand-feeding me answers, but I want there to be discussions. I want there to be, like, what about this? What about, like, really
I want to buy that they were thinking about it.
Yes.
And again, like, the whiplash of the last thing we hear him say is, I'm never going back, and then he goes back. That seems like you have to have something.
It's insane.
Needs some soul searching in between there to show that they're thinking about the consequences here, to believe that this is the right thing to do. If they think it's the right thing to do,
I would have loved to seen if Cisco talking to maybe another parent and just going
Jake,
talking to Jake, anybody, like, trying to hash out, like, what do I do here? Because if I was in this place, I wouldn't know.
This kid's whole future is dependent on this.
And if he goes with him, does that mean he doesn't see his adopted father? Did he never say bye to his mom?
I guess because we don't see her. They do describe them more as foster parents also. There's a subtle difference there between, like, adoption and fostering.
I guess so, but he's been with them for 8 years.
Again, I just needed something. Anything.
I needed something. I'm like, so he just is never going to see them again?
I think if we had just altered that conversation with him and O'Brien, and they did that sort of that bonding moment where they realized they both had these same prejudices, and you get some sort of moment where Rugal does start to show interest in Cardassian culture, like the positive aspects. If he sees an opportunity to change things, like, I can be this sort of outside perspective, and that even him just considering it
Yes.
might have been enough for me to buy that he was willing to be like, okay, you know what? I'm willing to go back and see what my people are actually like, and not just what I've been told.
Yes.
Something like that would have probably been enough to where you'd be like, okay, he's willing. This is his father. We have the DNA test. Because of those two combined things, we are going to send him off with his real father. But to go from you're a butcher, your son is dead, I am dead, I'm never going back, to he gets shipped off, it's just too much. Too much. I'm cutting a little bit of slack because I do like the Bashir Garek as a pairing more than the usual technobabble nonsense like this.
Yes,
there was
helpful.
some nice banter. There was some nice moments there, but it was still ultimately a distraction from what I feel like was at the core of the episode.
Yes, I think honestly the whole Dukat thing should have been cut. I think you could have still had Garek involved because it is a Cardassian boy, and him being involved. Like I think you could have still cut this whole Dukat plot line and really just focus on the situation. This could have been a really good episode. But because it felt like the writers were afraid to dive in. And you feel that I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do. I don't know how to handle this.
They kind of wrote themselves into a corner.
Yes. And I'm like, then why? If you're not going to dive in, why do it at all?
All right.
So, sadly, this was disappointing.
You get some Garek, which is nice, but ultimately, it just falls short.
I don't know if this is one people should see or not. It has some good stuff, but I don't think it's
Garek
crucial.
Bashir stuff.
Yeah.
You get Cardassian world building.
There's interesting aspects here, but I don't think it's super crucial.
I think
Really?
you should still watch it because this is your first hints of the Garek Dukat relationship, which they continually reference after this.
That is true.
I think you need that because this is your first hint that anything's wrong between them. I think
that's true because that's actually the real end of this episode. Is Bashir is trying to get a little bit of something from Garek about his relationship with Dukat, and Garek's like, nope, and that's it.
Get nothing. Good day, sir. Yeah. So I think it's still worth watching.
Okay,
if you want the complete DS9 continuity.
I'm just sad.
Yeah, missed opportunity.
Yeah.
All right.
What's our next episode?
Next episode is Melora.
Nothing. Like literally nothing in my brain.
Wheelchair.
Oh, and the fact that it's not the station's not ADA compliant.
Yes. Cardassians do not care about accessibility.
They're trying to get into the corners, and I'm just like, man, the Kardashians really were assholes.
Yeah.
I can't remember everything that happens in the episode. That's the only scene that sticks in my mind.
As we know, accessibility was bred out of these Cardassians a long time ago.
I'm like, man, a wheelchair sucks to suck on Cardassia. Jeez. Okay, that'll be interesting. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Well, see you.
We'll see you then.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.